Domains and institutional contexts. Now we will look at more carefully of what these domains of behavior might do for us in understanding language choice. And to do that, we will look at institutional contexts. As I said before, institutions within a culture can be seen as a set of norms, structured norms that have been there for a long time for certain groups. For instance, you can study religion as an institution, you can study family as an institution, education as an institution. Now, these institutional contexts are related to, or we can say, have emerged from this concept of activity spheres, which in turn we link with domains of language behavior. So, what we try to do in these institutional contexts or domains of language behavior or spheres of activity, whatever you might like to call them, we try to cluster interactional situations in specific multilingual contexts. That is, we choose a multilingual context. For instance, you choose Pakistan, and then you choose certain interactional situations. For instance, family. For instance, education or religion or courts or anything that you are interested in out of the domains that have been pointed out, or if you would like to add your own domains, you just cluster interactional situations together in what we call language behavior domains or institutional contexts. So these domains then enable us to understand language choice and topic within a given or a bounded system of a context. So accumulated language choices transform into processes. That means when individuals are consistently making a same choice over several times, several years, and several individuals are doing that, they come to be accumulated and they transform into actual processes which can either lead to language shift, that is, when one language is being preferred over the other language, while this was not the case before. So you can see that in how from Persian this shift was made towards Urdu, and from Urdu this shift is taking place towards English. So studying these patterns allows us to understand these processes of language shift while they are happening. It allows us to study the processes of language maintenance, that how does a group adhere to or stick to its language and maintains it by constantly using the same language within the same context for certain topics. And it also allows us to see how it has led to what we call language death. That is, when no one is using that language for any purpose at all, then we call that what has happened is that this language has become extinct, and we call it language death. But having said that, we can also study processes of language revival. Like we can see this process of language revival with reference to seeing how Hebrew was revived in Israel. So when we say that there have been consistently choices being made For instance, language X in favor of language X to discuss a topic X, then it leads us to understand that this language is dominant for this topic in this society or in this domain. And if the domain preference for this language is identified within one group, this allows us to compare it with other groups and the language choices made by other groups. So this domain analysis enables comparison across groups, between individuals and groups and their subgroups, and also across groups. So this allows us to systemize and organize data that we can use to interpret what is going on.